Hello, hello, my dear mango people. Here's a mango. There's just something about fruit that comes in slices that's just so fun. Am I right? I don't even like IRL mangoes very much, but this is so cute. This really makes you want to take a bite out of it. Sorry. Why did I make this? I stick by it. I stand by it. Okay, so as you saw in the intro, there were 9 fruit options, and in that same vein, you will get 9 tarot cards. So let's just get right to it, right? These are itching to come out. Spirit, can I please have some advice for the people watching this who picked this mango? Spirit, may I have some guidance for the people watching this who picked this mango? Okay, 4 cards. We'll do them like this. When I say 9 cards, I guess I mean 9 positions, because sometimes one position I do put 2 cards in them, but it is what it is. So your first thing is the Seven of Pentacles. The Seven of Pentacles, especially in this deck, is a very happy card. It's about looking at how far you've come and looking at your harvest, and just seeing all these fruits that you have planted blossoming. But the thing is, if you think about the Rider-Waite, so in the classic Rider-Waite is someone like leaning on his hoe, looking at like his fields and stuff. And the thing is, when you have a lot to harvest, that's good because it means you're abundant, it means you're plentiful, right? But it's also a lot of work. So you're kind of in that, like, on the one hand, happy because all of these things have come to fruition, but on the other hand, like, why did I set myself up for so much work, And then you have the Three of Swords and the World here. And this to me just like screams like relationship that's ended and that broke your heart. The World is the last major arcana card, so it's about the end of a big cycle, and this Three of Swords is just like you're just like bleeding, it just like hurts so fucking bad, which is maybe part of why you can't even appreciate all those like fruits of your labor, because you're just like in so much fucking pain right now, and the fact that the Three of Swords does always make me think of a relationship, but it can just be the end of a life cycle that you're mourning, like a phase in your life that's ended, or like someone really dear to you that may have passed on, and that just like hurts, it just like weighs you down, and it makes you feel trapped. So you've got these 2 cards, which are probably like the saddest cards in this deck. Sorry. I don't mean to make you feel bad about it. Please don't feel bad about it. But, they are both kind of pretty bummer cards. And, there's these swords stabbing them, and then stabbing the swan, and then the swan is surrounded by these swords. So it's like, first you're hurt by this, and then you're hurt by the thoughts of this, right? And you can't stop thinking about it. You feel like you're surrounded by it. Any movement you make, you like brush against one painful memory or another, Considering there's 3 swords here, this isn't gonna resonate for everyone, because as you can see, the swords are all kind of coming to one point, so it's like one wound. But to some of you, this might symbolize that there has been 3 things that have hurt you, like 3 people in your life that kind of deserted you at the same time, or just like 3 losses that just like left you so hurt, and you just like can't stop thinking about it. You feel like you're trapped by these like really difficult thoughts of this pain, and that's what's making the Seven of Pentacles kind of bittersweet rather than just sweet, Okay, so this first row is kind of where we're at, and then this next row is gonna be like the background of the situation. So can I please have a clarifying card for the Seven of Pentacles, please, Spirit? Can I have a clarifying card for the Seven of Pentacles, please, Spirit? Clarifying card for the mangoes for the Seven of Pentacles, please, Spirit. Clarifying card for the Seven of Pentacles, please, Spirit. You know, I just wanted to give me all the clarifyings at once. Fine. Okay. So below the Seven of Pentacles, we have the Queen of Wands. The Queen of Wands is about channeling your drive and channeling your motivation to create things that you're passionate about in this world. You know, so this is like the seeds that you planted that led to the Seven of Pentacles, you know, like maybe you started a bunch of songs that you now have to finish, and it's like great because these are great songs that I really like, but on the other hand they still have a lot of work. Why did I commit to making so many songs instead of like making less, you know? Maybe it was 7, or like yeah, the Queen of Wands here just really speaks to me of a creative project that you've committed to, and that's going well, but it's also, yeah, scary. So yeah, these are basically the seeds that led to the Seven of Pentacles. That makes sense. Here in the second column where we've got death, and we've got the Five of Pentacles, which is really a very similar message to the part before it. I guess we got all the information we needed in that first roll. But like death is about death, but with every death there's a rebirth. You know, I feel like this deck especially emphasizes that with having this phoenix on there, you know. But you can't see the rebirth part of it right now. You know, you just see the raging fire, the flames. Here's the Five of Pentacles. This is about this girl who looks up at this like beautiful mosaic that she can't reach, so she doesn't even look at it anymore, and she's just crying and like thinking about her sadness and everything she doesn't have, and she doesn't realize this butterfly that's trying to cheer her up like they're friends, or B, these flowers and the thorny bushes around her. You know, she looks around her and she's like, oh God, are these like thorny, hurtful bushes that really, honestly, really remind me of this Eight of Swords. I don't know if you can see it, but those also have some like thorny vines, you know? So all you see are these thorny vines trapping and hurting you. But I don't know if you can see it in the bottom of the card, there's flowers growing on them, you know? So there's beauty. There's beauty there, even in pain. Even in pain, there's beauty. There's so much beauty. And you just can't see that right now. And then lastly, to clarify the Eight of Swords, we've got the King of Cups. So you kind of pride yourself on being a really like emotionally stable and like emotionally connected and emotionally compassionate person. So the reason why you're kind of like trapped in these like, you can't stop thinking about this, is that because you're just like, I feel like if I just like figure it out, if I just like really think about it, I'll be able to like process these emotions and go back to being my King of Cups self. But you're not processing, you're just hurting yourself. You're just thrashing about in those thorns, hurting yourself. So rather than thinking more and more about the hurt, like you, I don't know if you guys watch Abraham Hicks, but Abraham tells a story about when Esther and Jerry were like driving somewhere and they were using a GPS and something goes wrong and they go like the wrong way for like 10 miles and then they turn around and start going the right way. And Esther's like, should we just go back and figure out like where we went wrong? Like, I don't understand. Like, I follow the GPS. Like, should we just go back and like drive around there until we figure out what went wrong. And Jerry's just like, or we can just keep going where we're going. Like, why would we do that, you know? And that's kind of what you're doing. You're like going back to that intersection, to wherever there was an traffic accident in your life, metaphorically, and trying to, and trying to figure out like where you went wrong. But like, sometimes shit just goes wrong, you know? It was the time for that to end, and for that to end, and for that to die, you know? Like, it's not, there's no explaining it, there's no going back and figuring out what happened so that you can process it, and you know, and then you get it, and then you'll be okay. But like, no, that's not gonna help, you know? But yeah, that's why you keep thinking about it, because you just want to like figure it out so that you can, you know, feel like, oh, okay, I feel this because of this, I feel this because of that. You just feel it. There's no, the more you think about these heavy emotions, it's not gonna liberate you, it's just gonna trap you more and more and more. Okay, so this is where we're at, this is the background, and now this one's advice, right? So please, some advice here for the Seven of Pentacles. For people that picked this slice of mango, some advice, please, Spirit. Please, Spirit, some advice for everyone watching who picked the Seven of Mangoes. Did you hear that? Oh, Seven of Cups. Interesting. 7. Okay, some advice here for the World and the Three of Swords. Some advice here for the World and the Three of Swords for our mango people. Some advice for the World and the Three of Swords. Wow, the Knight and the Queen of Swords. Fun. And then lastly, some advice for the Eight of Swords. Some advice for the Eight of Swords. Some advice for the Eight of Swords, please. Some advice for our mango people regarding the Eight of Swords. Thank you, Spirit. Oh, I see. Okay, so your advice for the Seven of Pentacles is the Seven of Cups. This is a card about like daydreaming, you know? So it's like, if we go back to my song example, rather than being like, there's still so much I have to do to like finish these songs, just daydream about how amazing they're gonna sound once they're done. You know, you don't even have to do any work on this. The Seven of Pentacles isn't even a moment of work, you know? That's when the Eight of Pentacles gets here. But the Seven of Pentacles is just like, look how far you've come, you know? So like, listen to what you've already made and just be like, wow, this like already sounds really good. And then start daydreaming like how it's gonna sound even better once you finish them. But there's no rush, you know? You don't have to like, it doesn't have to be a weight, you know? And if you don't want to think about these things that you've already done, daydream about your next project, you know? Don't be like, there's so much work to do before this is done. And just be like, wow, when I'm done with this, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do this. So yeah, just daydream, have fun with it. Your advice card is the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords. A lot of people got the Queen of Swords on their advice, so I guess you'll need a little more rationality in your life, which I guess makes sense. Swords are all about the mind. So the Queen of Swords is asking you to look at this ending a little more rationally, you know, even though it hurt you so much, and you feel like you lost everything. This is asking you to look at it a little more rationally, a little more carefully, so that you are able to see the flowers that are in these thorns, you know? And the Knight of Swords, all of the knights are very much about taking determined action, you know? So in this Phoenix, something had to die for something else to be born, you know? So first, look at it rationally to try to figure out why this had to die. And then birth the next thing that has to be born from this, you know? So you might be feeling like I'm giving you kind of conflicting advice, especially with the next advice that I'm about to give you. Because when the Eight of Swords was here, I was all like, you know, stop thinking about it. Stop trying to figure out where it went wrong. And that's not what I'm saying here. I'm not telling you to figure out where it went wrong. That's the thing you shouldn't do. But just like look at the situation as a whole and look at what doors this ending might have opened. You know, that's what I mean by think about it rationally, not think about the breakup, the death, or the Three of Swords, the wound. Like thinking about the wound doesn't help, but think about the wound's place in the overall mosaic, you know, in the overall journey of your life. And then once you've done that, I think you will feel inspired to something. Don't know what, but you will. And then your last advice is your Five of Cups, which is fun. Someone else got this as well, and I also read this passage to them because I really like it. The Five of Cups is one of my favorite cards, maybe because I love crying, and this is a card about crying. So as you can see, it's this girl holding this bowl at the edge of the sea, right? And she fills the bowl with her tears, taking an almost sensual delight in the slide of those droplets down her cheeks. So, even though this hurts you so much, and you keep thinking about it, all the ways that it hurts you, you're not actually letting yourself feel that hurt, and that's what's blocking you from going back to your King of Cups self. You think like, if I just kind of distance myself emotionally from this pain, then I'll be able to rationalize it and be this King of Cups, but that's not it at all. You need to feel this pain. You just need to cry. You need to cry and feel how much it hurts, you know, like... That's why I said you might think that I'm giving you conflicting advice with this Queen of Swords and the Five of Cups here, but it's like you need to cry and you need to feel this hurt, and then you need to see the place that this hurt has in your life. But you do need to feel it first. You know, like I said before, even though you can't stop thinking about it, you've actually not let yourself truly mourn this hurt that you're feeling. Both of these cards, I changed it now, but they were kind of covered by these endings, right? By these major arcana. So it's like you have this hurt, this deep hurt that you're just like not feeling, you know, not mourning, not connecting with, because you're like, ooh, that's scary, that hurts, I don't want to do that. But crying is fun. I love crying. I'm so glad you got this as an advice card, because I love crying. So just go cry. Just cry. If you haven't cried in a while, if it's hard for you to cry, if it's hard for you to, yeah, maybe this is what this King of Cups is about. You know, you're used to being this like compassionate, in control of your emotions person. So either you don't cry that much, or you cry on your own terms, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. You don't usually cry that much, even though you feel like you're in touch with your emotions because you're this King of Cups. You don't cry that much, and you just need to cry. You just need to let it out. If it's hard for you to cry because you haven't cried in a while, just, you know, watch some sad-ass movies and like really try to imagine how much it would hurt to be in that position, in that person's position in the movie that you're watching. Just really just try to get into it as much as possible. Like, wow, if that happened to me, I would feel awful. Like, wow, look at how sad they are. I'm sad. Or like, just that sort of thing, you know? And then once you start crying about this person's plight, trust me, your own plight will come to you and you will start to cry about that instead. And that will be good for you. It will be good for you to have that catharsis. You know, maybe this is why this had to happen, so that you can cry. Like, crying is good for you. Just cry, cry, cry. So, yes. And one more. Perhaps when we find ourselves wanting everything is because we're dangerously close to wanting nothing. Yes, ma'am. Wow. There are many ways to perish or to flourish. Makes you think of the Death card anymore? Makes me think of the Death card. Tempus edax rerum. Time, devourer of all. So yeah, there are many ways to die and many ways to flourish, I think, is about this Death card and about this Five of Pentacles card. Even if you're in an environment where you feel like you can't flourish for whatever reason, there's so many ways. Just as everything dies, everything lives. You know what I'm saying? What was this one? Oh, when we find ourselves wanting everything, it is because we're dangerously close to wanting nothing. I don't really get how this relates to your message. I feel like I had this one like this for every group, where I was just like, you know, make of that what you will. You know, I guess that's just self-explanatory enough that I don't need to add anything. Hopefully that will make sense to you. And then Tempus edax rerum is about, like, time devourer of all. You know, these wounds will heal with time. Honestly, even if you don't cry, even though I think you should, eventually you will just naturally leave this through time, you know, because time heals all wounds, you know. But really, you should cry so that you can be more in touch with yourself and your emotions. But also, time devourer of all. With time, you'll be able to see how this fits into the greater scheme of your life, you know. So it is also a little bit about just giving it time so that you can have that space to heal. Yeah. So now that we're done with those little messages, let's give you a quick recap. You have something coming into fruition right now, but you can't even really enjoy it because something else has ended and it's left you feeling really hurt, and you just can't stop thinking about where you went wrong, or the mistakes that you did, or just the ways in which this other person has hurt you. You can't stop thinking about it. And your solution to the can't stop thinking about it is just cry about it, because you can't stop thinking about it, but you keep trying to stop thinking about it, like by being rational. Like, no, don't, like you can't stop thinking about it, but you keep trying to make yourself think about it in this really rational way, like this really you know, this happened, so then this happened, and then that's why we're here, you know, because these two things happened, and you know, like, you keep running into these swords because you're trying to not think about it. You can't stop thinking about it. Like, everything reminds you of it because you have not given yourself the space and the time to grieve and to heal, you know? And once you've done that first cry a lot first. Then once you've done that, look at the way, or even while you're doing it, you really can do these two things at the same time, even though it might sound a little contradictory to some of you, you know, even as you feel that pain, realize the ways in which that pain is helping you grow. It's making you stronger. It's playing a role in your life. It's important. It's important. And that's why you have to feel it, because it's important. You cannot block it out, because it's important that you feel it. There is a reason why you feel it. And lastly, with regards to your little Seven of Pentacles struggle with feeling like you have so much to do, or you have all these fruits that you have to do, like if you just want to let these peaches, it's funny that you picked mango, but these really look like peaches. Why didn't this come out for the peach group? Huh, Spirit? Huh, Spirit? I'm kidding. Spirit knows I'm kidding. So what was I saying? You could let those rot on the vine if you wanted and start a whole new fun thing, you know? So just start thinking about the whole fun thing that you want to start, and this will work itself out, you know? Like, don't, just like, you've already done so much. It's basically mostly done, you know? So the last few steps are going to be like bada bing, bada boom, you know? You don't need to worry about that. Thank you for watching, my dear people who picked the mango. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that it was helpful. And I hope that you will like and comment and subscribe if you so wish. I'll see you when I see you.